Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Check this thing on. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you dig it, sucker?
First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey. All right.
Oh yeah, they rolling on in.
I predict we'll have a better tech day today. Shout out
Let's
to
hope you're on your. Let's hope you're on your Paustradamus.
Man. Punkstradamus says better tech day. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, Margie, Weatherized, Squad in house.
Yeah.
All of you chat chambers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us this morning on Wednesday, December the 6th. Hump day is going down.
Hump day.
Yes. Thanks for joining us for a fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Man, we're just pretty much still reeling from the week.
Man, yeah, it doesn't feel like Wednesday. It really doesn't feel like Wednesday. It's been so much going on over the weekend. My trip here has been a blast, been highlight after highlight.
Man,
feeling the love in the community. Feeling the love.
Love that, man. That's what's up. It's nothing better than coming back to your community and feeling the love. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody getting up with us this morning. Again, we apologize for the tech mishaps last Monday. It was fully our fault. Shout out to Weatherized though for what we have done without them.
Been lost. Just been lost.
Shout out to Star Trek Rich and Margie, man, and the Weatherized crew for being those producers, the consummate producers that they are.
Yeah.
We worked through it. So we're back and we figured we'd do the easiest version of this time around so we can have less tech and more talk.
Yeah, I like that. Less tech, more talk, less head smoking.
Yes. Yeah. Good morning. I want to jump into the chat. I see we got a lot of people coming in giving us the good mornings. Tamika Johnson giving us some sunshine. Good morning. Leia Keister said, "What's up Wednesday? What's happening?" Hey. Good morning to you. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Good morning, Miss Lewis. Gwen Easter says, "Good morning. Good morning to you." Pops in the chat on YouTube said, "Good Wednesday morning to all. Mad love from Las Vegas." Appreciate you, Pops.
Fam.
Brother Sherman Wells says, "What a night. Grand Rising, brothers." Man,
what a night indeed, brother. What a night
indeed.
Big shout out to you, the Untamed crew, the BAA crew.
Man.
Doing big things. Just glad to be a part of it.
And shout out to Dr. Cornell West, man. Coming out here showing the love. For real. Marlon Harrison in the chat says, "Everything is good on my end." Thank you very much. Appreciate that very much. Yes. There you go. Yeah, man. Check it out.
Oh, see, yours is clear. Yeah, yours is. There you go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. What a night. Sue Kessler Hagen gives us a good morning. Christy Knorr gives us a good morning. Miss Erica Felt gives us a good morning. Mira Sanchez says growing pains.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah. As far as the tech, you're right. But today is going to be less tech, more talk. And that's how it needs to be today. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning as well. Appreciate you coming on in.
Top of the
Looks like
morning.
looks like Facebook is working today. Facebook and YouTube.
Doing this thing. But I don't know, y'all. Facebook, your days might be numbered. Your days might be numbered.
Yeah, that was pretty raggedy. Restream too while we're at it.
Yeah.
While we numbering the days of tech.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Gonna figure some things out here in season 7, but whatever, at anywhere, gonna keep going, keep doing the thing, man. We appreciate the love. Really, really feeling the love, really feeling the support throughout the community. Excited, man. So it's an exciting time, y'all. Hope you feel it. Hope
Very
you
much
feel
so.
it.
Very much so. Kira Snipes is in the chat giving us a good morning, God morning, and good morning. Heard that.
Okay, both. Both.
Yep. For those of you that are just joining us and didn't know, Dr. Cornell West was in town yesterday, and he was the man about town as well. I'm seeing pictures of him all over town, man. He was at Malcolm X Memorial
Man,
Foundation, hanging out. He was at North High. Uh,
he's
uh,
up.
yeah, man. They were like North High went off. He was like the kids were so excited. Everybody was so excited. It was like that was the highlight of the day for their rounds. There was going to North High, so that's what's up.
Okay, good. Like
Yeah.
showed out. Alma mater, making me proud.
Yep. He was over at UNO. He even went and toured the coal plant with the intent of speaking up and helping it get shut down like they promised, like they keep promising.
Gotta apply that pressure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Appreciate you very much for coming on through. And like everybody, last night was one of those kinds of nights. It was just we didn't even get enough photos, but I was there with the squad. I got a picture of me and Kimra and man Whitney Richardson in the house. Everybody just beaming from the night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Couple shots. Here's Kimra and here's Dr. West with Kimra here. So I mean, we took a lot of video. We got a lot of footage, and we're definitely going to be putting those things together, let you see what happened there. It was covered pretty well, as a matter of fact. So I still didn't see any of the mainstream local media there.
That's a good point. That is a great point.
CNN was in the house, but where was Channel 7, 6, 3?
Presidential candidate comes to the town and they don't cover it. Actually, did you see any headlines about any of it this morning? Did you?
Nope. I didn't see anything. Yeah. So once again, this is the reason why we're doing what we're doing, because we got headlines.
Man,
and our headlines sometimes differ from the mainstream media's headlines, but that's why we're working to make our headlines just as big.
Equally as important, man. The presidential candidate just came to touch the people, to talk to the people, to give the people hope. And this is not a lesser of two evils candidate. This is, again, a candidate that you can actually vote for, not vote for to vote against somebody else.
Yep. Shout out to Anthony Rogers Wright, who is one of his 4 campaign managers, one of the quartet, he calls them, the jazz quartet. He said he sent out correspondence and tried to pull all the majors in, and obviously wasn't getting any bite back. He was hoping that since we were on air shaming them last show they would show up, but
ain't no shame.
No shame. Yes, Kimmer Snipe says that's crazy that he had zero coverage. Well, I'll tell you what, Brother Elijah was in there with 5 cameras. We was in there with our cameras.
Man,
there was definitely some coverage. It just wasn't the mainstream media, and that's why and
that's all right.
Yeah, that's quite all right. That's why we're building what we're building. Miss Erica Fell says not one. They all got press releases and messages. All 3. Yep. Tony Johnson said, nice response for Cornell West. I felt the energy in the room, man. Okay.
Man.
That's what's up.
Man, Tony Johnson, you was there?
Sorry I didn't get to meet you there. Yeah. Yeah, man. There was a lot of chat chimers in the house. Lots of chat chimers, lots of ghost listeners. That's what we noticed. So shout out to all of y'all that showed up. That was super dope. Stacey Jean in the house. She says, good morning, First Sky Omaha family and friends. Appreciate you. Wanda Lewis says people have to keep moving forward without validation from outside sources. Thank you.
There you go.
You said it.
That's a mouthful.
You said it. That's what's up. I'm seeing a new name in here, Jaden Guns and Ammo. Okay. Mainstream media steers the public towards the 2 major parties and not independent candidates.
Man,
I can feel that. Feel that very much so. Very much so. Yes. Appreciate you coming in and joining us today. Kimber Snipes says, Tony, did you speak to me? Okay, so yeah. I'm sorry that we didn't get to meet you, Tony, and And I'm sorry, I apologize for not being able to get around to all the Chad Chimers that were showed up last night too at the Highlander.
Yeah.
Very, very cool event. I mean, the event was just electric and powerful, man.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even still kind of floating from the Dr. Umar, 4-year anniversary event. Like seeing some chat chimers there and then turning around, seeing some of the same chat chimers. Is nice to see y'all pounding the pavement, boots to the roots, getting out, supporting, mobilizing. That's what it's about, y'all. That's what it's about, doing the thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll definitely be talking more about that visit and some of the things that he talked about yesterday, and just the week, man, the power week that we've had
Man.
here in North Omaha, and the love that we've been feeling. That was the main theme of Dr. West, is love, and that's been, that was the main theme. That was kind of the main theme of Dr. I remember talking to Dr. Umar on the show, and he was saying the same thing. It was like the problem is we don't have enough love in our community,
Mm-hmm.
and the theme this week has just been that you got to start from there, and it takes a lot of courage to decide that you're gonna love people that you don't sometimes get along with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially then. So Lavelle Wells in the chat, good
Hey.
rising. He said, man, brother Wells gave the opening prayer last night for Dr. West's speech,
Mm-hmm.
which was dope, man. Giving us permission to be on the land
There
and
you go.
do that. Dr. Cornell West acknowledged our indigenous brothers and sisters last night a lot as well. So, yeah, just the one thing I will say about his visit that's the takeaway is he reminds you how to really love people.
Man. Man.
Brother hugs everybody he comes in front of, and praises them and loves and just loves the people, loves everybody. Really, really, kind of is a reminder of like how to not walk around salty all the time and not just say hello, but hug your brother. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Acknowledge. Like, yeah, I'm sure everybody in that room felt seen. That part. Felt
that part.
seen.
That part. Speaking of feeling seen, I see you still in town. How you doing today, man?
Hey, yeah. Back at Weber Rise. So nice. Had to do it twice. Shout out to the squad here. Star Check Rich, Margin. Yeah, everybody getting down.
That's what's up,
Getting
man.
down.
And I'm glad to hear that your visit was high point after high point. That's the best.
Yeah. Went by quickly, actually. Went by these last 5 or so days. Went by very quickly. So you don't believe in the concept of time around here. I forget which time you had laid out the different types of time. I forget the time that you kind of lose track of, get
Yes,
lost in.
that's the most
Yes,
important one.
yeah, it's been that. It's been that, man. It's just looking forward to the next thing, and yeah, man. It's always a pleasure to come back to the city, man. Touch the people, feel the love.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, love it,
Support what's
love it.
going on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm already looking forward to you coming back so we can do a little bit of hanging instead of just business all the time. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, hang out a
yeah.
little bit, make some music, do something fun.
Man.
Miss Erica Felt was there last night too. She said there were so many incredible people in the room. I couldn't speak to everyone that I wanted to. I even saw one of my play school clients and her daughter. That's what's up.
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
fam, on the fam. So as you can see, we're kind of beaming from this whole week. This whole week, really, man. Shout out to the BAA and Untamed for hosting one of the best weeks in Omaha, as far as I'm concerned.
man. Yeah, powerful weekend. And right on time too. Right on time ahead of election season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right on time. Powerful speech last night. I'm
yeah.
kind of curious. Let us know how you felt about the event last night, about the speeches, about what everybody had to say.
Please do. Please do let us know.
Yeah.
We got a few topics to talk about today, some that we didn't get to last show. And then also, of course, we got the brother senators, Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne coming on through today.
Yeah.
They graciously allowed us to move their time to today so that we can speak to Dr. Cornell West Monday. And they'll be on. We saw Senator Terrell McKinney last night in the House at the Sydney.
Yeah.
For those of you didn't know, the after party was over at the Sydney, and Dr. West was there. They said he was going to come and DJ. I think he got up on the ones and twos for about a hot minute before we got there, and then that was, and then he just had the hug line. He just stood kind of in the back of the room and waited for to greet everybody that wanted to come and say hi to him and hug everybody in the room, sign books and stuff like that. So that was it. But yeah, it was incredible, and yeah, and so we ran into Brother McKinney, and he's like, yeah, we'll be on today. So we're definitely anticipating their visit, and can talk to them about a few things that's going on as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Terrell that was out there last night on the ones and twos doing his thing,
Straight up.
feeling the vibes. Yeah,
Straight up.
yeah, yeah.
He might be listening in, ghost listening in right now, doing yoga, checking us out. So what's up? What's up,
Man.
Jethro? What's up, man?
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to the guys. Shout out to the guys. So
Yep.
yeah, man. It was a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Do have some things again, to talk about. We have a week left in the show, just about. So
Ooh, that's right.
yeah, man. Next Friday is the last episode of the season.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this one fired up. Fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning is happening right now.
Yeah, man. In the morning.
Start the show. What up? What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us. Wednesday, December 6th, or as we are calling it today, the day after Dr. Cornel West came down.
Man.
So yeah, we appreciate everybody that's joining us. Let us know how the mix was. 6:30 Club. If you're up checking out the mix this morning, let us know. And of course, this is Wednesday. We usually have Senator Terrell McKinney and Senator Justin Wayne on Mondays that graciously allowed us to move their show till today so that we can speak to Dr. Cornel West Monday, which was quite the adventure. But we got the footage over there on YouTube. If you happen to be a YouTuber, then you got to see it because Facebook failed on us on Monday.
Count your days. Count your days.
But we did get the interview. We're going to do some cutting up and reposting of that so that everybody everywhere can check it out because it was a great conversation. One of the best conversations I ever had with a guest. As far as I'm concerned, I felt like they were speaking the same language in a real way.
My thoughts exactly, man. That was one of the first times that we had a guest come on, for the first time and fall right in line, man. Like really speak our language. And for those of you who are OG listeners, you've been listening for a while, we really do have our own language here.
We really do. And what I picture is that's what season 7. That's the kind of conversation I'm trying to have in season 7.
Man.
That was a season 7 conversation right there with the brother. But like Kimber Snipes says, somebody in the chat earlier said, I love how he tied in music with the things that he was talking about as well. And that was right up our alley there. So that's what's happening. In the chat real quick, Tony Johnson said, wish more Black Omaha leaders attended. A good example of engaging with community, style of speak, attention to issues. He showed a lot. Yeah, I was definitely loving who was in the room. That was my first thought. Who was there? Like I said, lots of chat chimers, lots of ghost listeners, lots of community leaders. Who was in the room was a big deal, but who wasn't in the room was a big deal too. Who wasn't there, who didn't show up. Some of the leaders, some of the other community members, and of course, as far as we're concerned, the mainstream media should have been there. And they weren't. So definitely had to take note of that. Kimmer Snipe says, I'm definitely on a high because of the last few days, for real.
Yeah.
Brother Kasim is in the chat. Peace, brothers. Peace to you, man. Peace to the BAA for hosting this Power Week that we had, man. Shout out to you guys for all the work that you guys did, getting the brother out here, getting Dr. Umar out here, Dr. Cornel West out here, and working while they were here, protecting them while they were here. So
on detail, making sure everything went smoothly. So yeah, big shout out to you brothers, and the teams behind you. Definitely a great example of leadership.
Yep, for sure. Kimmer Snipe said he had a long day. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about with Brother West. He got up early and had a long day traveling around the city, and then speaking at 7:00, and then going to the after party as well.
Man,
and then having an early flight this morning, and that. So yeah, he had a long day. Miss Erica Phelps says he's 70 and doing great.
Yeah,
got more energy than me. I'll tell you
that. He was charged up. He was charged up at the speech. Man, giving off a lot of energy.
Yeah. So hopefully he's getting some good sleep on the plane this morning.
That part.
Tony Johnson says Senator McKinney got snubbed on the news article about Charles Drew. No mention of him, even though he was the one to make it possible. That's
Hmm.
unfortunate. We have to go check in and see what that news article with Charles Drew said. I missed that one. I didn't see that article there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, post that in Friends of First Sky if you would, Brother Johnson. Appreciate it. Also, let's see. They're talking back and forth. Mayor Sanchez says whoever wasn't there was not supposed to be there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that there was a lot of people that I know wanted to come and couldn't make it for various reasons, work and so on and so forth. So I'm not blaming anybody for not showing up, but I do think that it was an important enough event that leaders in the media should have been there.
Yeah.
More leaders in the media. Shout out to Councilwoman Juanita Johnson. I saw her
She was
there.
there.
Yep. Also, TD Sanders was there, so we did
Yeah.
have our media there. You know,
Right. I think Bill King was there. So
Bill
yeah,
King
our,
was
our
there.
media was there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what it is. We got to see what's happening. Also, Tamika Johnson says, "Real talk. I plan on checking out a Sunday service at AOS. Hey, Assembly of the Saints kind of blew our
Man.
mind this week. Blew our mind. Brother Wells, Sherman Wells, got up and said that's his church home now.
Man.
We were over there checking it out, man. Did not realize they had such facilities: podcast studio, gym, coffee shop, and then assembly space. Cafeteria space, a hidden gym in 24th Street. Hidden
Man.
to us. I guess it's been there for a while, and there's been people that are about it, but I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, just tripping.
Yeah. Big shout out. Big shout out to Assembly of the Saints. And that whole situation. Go check it out if you haven't, especially if you got young folk. It's there for the teens, man. So
Yep,
somewhere to kind of be constructive, use that energy in a positive way.
yep. We'll have Pastor Ballard on. We talked to him about having him on too, so we'll definitely have him on and talk about the space and all the work that he's doing as well in town. So
Okay.
says a lot who decided to open the house up and let Dr. Umar come through. You know what I'm saying? And let
Oh yeah.
BA come through. Says a lot.
As Brother Kasim said, the pastor said again, Brother Umar, it was the church,
Right.
and let the church say Amen. Yeah. Feeling the love, man. Feeling the love, and seeing the community come together. It's just inspiring.
That was the
Just
best part.
inspiring.
That's the best part. Sometimes you get a little bit like, man, is it just us? You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
you walk into a room full of hundreds of people, like, oh, yeah, that's what's up, man. A beautiful thing. John Carter in the chat said, this is a perfect example why our own media is important to keep us informed of the issues that also matter to us, most to us. Keep up the positive information flow, brothers. Appreciate you.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've had many conversations this week here. We got plans to upgrade and do a lot of things, but it really kind of kicked into high gear this week because I was speaking to members of the Black community that had no idea that Dr. Umar and Dr. West were coming into town this week.
A lot of that.
People that are in the know that I just knew they knew. You know what I'm saying? So it was an eye opening thing, and it just made me realize about how much more we need to be the source that blasts things out and makes it as big as mainstream media would make it. When people like Dr. Cornel West comes to town, presidential candidate Dr. Cornel West comes to town.
Man.
So we're working on plans for 2024 to expand on that. So we have several different things that we're doing. Launching the website with some merchandise so we can kind of sell and use the money there. Also, the donations that you all, the Chad Chimers and other Ghost listeners give, reoccurring donations that happen. We just got to try to build up our own in 2024 and really put that back into First Sky Omaha to make it be that source that you won't ever miss when something as important as this is happening. It'll be in your face all the time. That's what we're trying to get to.
Man.
So, Brother Kasim, yeah, he said we bringing him back in February. Okay, that's what's up, brother. Dr. Umar, he said our professionalism and hospitality have gone unmatched. Woo.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's so they feeling the love too.
Yeah,
they feeling the love too, man. Definitely big ups to just a community for showing it's good side, showing the beauty that is in North Omaha, man. And yeah, I can't be more proud of where I come from, man. North Omaha.
That's what's up, man. That's feeling of pride for sure. For Power Week, Brooke Allen, who's going to UNO as a student right now, says don't remember seeing any flyers for his visit at UNO.
Mm.
And I did see some photos. of him at UNO. So I know that he made his rounds and yesterday and went over there. So yeah, just what happened? Just low key, just snuck into UNO, like no fanfare, no nothing, no flyers, no doctor, presidential candidate visit, nothing. So even the students didn't know that he was coming. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate, but it leaves a opportunity for us to try to move in and make it makes a lane for what First Guy Omaha is going to try to do. So that's what's up.
Yeah, yeah.
Tony Johnson, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, not really pointing any fingers, but I do find it interesting. I did recently come across some headlines in the news about some discriminatory claims going out towards UNO, a lawsuit. Yeah. Maybe we can find that. But there's a lawsuit about some racial discrimination and just kind of unfair practices or unequitable practices, you could say, coming out of UNO. So yeah, the fact that not a lot of fanfare around Dr. West, not a surprise.
Yep. Mayor Sanchez says North Omaha nice, not the Nebraska nice. Tony Johnson said Black Omaha media is in need of more hands, for real. What happens to all videos, photos people were taking? Yeah, we kind of went around and got the names of the brothers that were doing. Of course, brother Elijah, who's been taking photos and videos for the past 40 years.
Man,
yeah, he was there with several cameras. We're definitely connected with him. We're going to have him on the show as well. We talked about that, and a few other people that were shooting. We're definitely going to try to gather everyone's videos and put something together along with ours in order to be able to show what kind of happened at the BAA 4-year anniversary. Also over at the Highlander last night with Dr. Cornell West. So yeah, we're just going to try to piece together some things, get together and collaborate with some other brothers that took some video as well and put something together. So yeah, that's definitely on the radar. Last night, the only major outlet that I saw there was CNN. They had their big cameras there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what CNN produces on this. If I don't think they were going live, so we'll see if they produce a piece and check out and see if they represent it right. Also, Sherman Wells in the chat says it means that not in the know. If you're not in the know, that not watching First Sky if they're not on my page or Cassini's page, right? Yeah, that's definitely the case. But what we were discussing last week is that we kind of realized that, especially the pages, especially on Facebook in particular, has throttled down your viewership.
Oh yeah.
So because they want to sell ads, they want you to spend money on advertising. They don't let you get out past your friends list, and they don't even get all of your friends list.
Man, just a tip of the
exactly. So you really gotta tap in a major focus, and that's fine. We've been doing that for a little while now, but now it's time for like people that aren't tapped into our show to still know that something like Dr. West is coming to town. It's called discoverability in the media world. We need some discoverability around the black media here, not just in the silo of what it is that we've built. So that's what we're talking about, trying to break through that ceiling, man, and get to the people who might be interested that just aren't getting the message because all we do is broadcast through social media. So we'll talk about that more as we go along. Tanaya Patterson said that's also on his team to spread the word. It is, yeah. He's got a team of 4. They did a lot of spreading, but they're not outlets. Mm-hmm. So they did a whole bunch of street teaming. A whole bunch of people got T-shirts and flyers and all kinds of stuff. They can't cover the whole city with their. They don't bring a team like that comes to the city and does that kind of street teaming. But what they do is they hit up all the major sources, and like I said, we talked to Anthony Rogers Wright, who came on last week, and he told us about all the outlets he reached out to with press releases and all the official stuff, and the mainstream media didn't get back to him. Channel 6, Channel 7, Channel 3, Omaha World Herald didn't. They're the ones that's got to spread it out once you get the material, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen in the way that it needed to happen. So that's unfortunate. Yeah. Kimmer Snipes says he went on the redlining tour, which was put together through one of my staff members at the Omaha, at One Omaha, and Dr. Terry Crawford. So
okay,
that redlining tour that UNO has, that's why he went. So that's super dope.
Man, it's important too. Also, I think you made it by the African American bookstore. Yeah,
They
yeah.
were saying somebody who told him he needs to go check that out. I forgot. I think
I
it
think that was Sherman. I think.
was Sherman. Yeah, yeah. So I was hoping that too. I was thinking that. I was like, man, certainly hope he gets over there, and he did. He went over there and he mentioned brother Marshall. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And
Yep. Rest in
yeah,
peace.
yeah, man, beautiful thing, beautiful thing. Stuart Knight in the chat. Good morning, brother Knight. Says, have y'all heard that a large portion of North O has been classified as a blighted area? Yeah, yeah, we've been
Yeah.
hearing that.
I mean, that's the whole issue about TIF. Not surprising. Expect more TIF projects now.
Yeah, that's why. That's how Tiff Alley got built. Was them
Right.
claiming that we're blighted. Terry Crawford says, "Good morning, fam. Dr. West was on campus at my invitation, and his campaign manager, along with BAA, made it happen. He has a team. He has his team and C-SPAN. It was not a UNO event intentionally. Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate
Okay.
you giving us that background information there on that. That's cool.
Clearing it up.
Yeah. So, well, we appreciate you inviting them over there and checking it out. I think it made an impression on him to check out that redlining video, the redlining tour, and everything else that he did yesterday. He had nothing but positive things to say about everywhere that he went. So that's awesome. Kimmer Snipe says, imagine connected neighborhoods where information is shared. Everybody isn't on social media or in the virtual world, but you can still utilize all of that within your neighborhood organizing space.
Yep.
Love it.
Gotta use it all. Gotta use it both. You can't just use one or the other and expect the message to get out there, because some people are always gonna fall through the cracks. I thank you, Sister Kimmer, for reminding us about the importance of neighborhoods.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we're gonna continue that conversation. And it is, although we still got a week left, still boots to the roots, still pushing people to join your neighborhood associations. If there's not one in your area, start one. Because the time is now, man. The time is now to mobilize, to get people not really even of just like mine, just people who
Mm-hmm.
understand that we're better together. So yeah.
Beautiful thing. Also, it's got me thinking about too, not just the neighborhood stuff, but just the network of being able to speak to each other about these things, and we need to try to find out like where everybody's at and where everybody's looking. That'll help us figure out how we do things in season 7. So season 7 is going to also be a lot of us putting out some surveys to you, the chat chimers and the ghost listeners, about stuff like, where do you get your news? Do you still watch TV? How did you find out about whatever events happening? We were talking about the hip hop Nutcracker with Curtis Blow. How did you find out about that? Is that something you saw on TV, heard on the radio? Did it pop up on your phone? Are you a member or are you on the mailing list for Omaha Performing Arts, and that's how you saw it? We're going to be trying to dig in and find out the details on how it is that we reach people, so we can reach more people beyond what we got going on here. And that's get to that discoverability piece where we can put something out there and more people than just in the people in our silo can see it. So we'll be trying to find out so we can figure out where to put those efforts. I know that I do not have cable, so I do not see commercials on TV for things. I only listen to KIOS if I'm listening to radio. I guess I listen to 95.7 The Boss. 95.7 The Boss has a lot of commercials.
Yeah.
And we'll bring on. We need to talk to William King, bring him on and talk about some of the stuff he's got going on. There's a lot of political commercials and things on his channel now too that surprised me, and I was like, I'd like to have a conversation with the brother about that. But shout out to 95.7 The Boss and William King, because most of the commercials, for the Rib Shack, for a lot of black businesses are circulating on his channel, and you hear that and it gets in your mind because it's on replay all the time. So
The Rib Shack.
yes, sir. Hey, bro. I was driving past it one time. I was like, "Oh, I'm stopping in." The Rib Shack got stuck in your brain. You go check them out. So, shout out to Bill King on that, man. So we're trying to figure out the outlets. Where do you get your news? What do you look at to see what's going on around town? We used to be able to check out the Reader and find out all the activities, but the Reader's gone now. Right now, there's a little bit of a space, for culture, and what's happening around town is getting even harder to figure out. And it's not just about a Facebook event page anymore, or algorithm, or just your friend's network. It's got to go beyond that.
Yeah, and there's just so much other information that you're combating. There's so much. People are just being bombarded with information and content and data day in and day out. all day, even sometimes in they sleep. Like it really is kind of crazy when you think about how much information people are consuming. But when you put some intent behind it, where do you look? Where do you go? And even when you don't put some intent, where are you? Are you a doom scroller?
Good question. Very good question. Very good question. Having a conversation in the chat. Looks like everybody's talking about a few different things. Appreciate that very much. Whitney Richardson is in the house saying morning family. Good morning to you as well. Tonight, Patterson says in reference to UNO would suggest a disconnect if not even members of the student body were aware of his visit to the campus. Yes, we just had Terry Crawford on that just explained to us a little bit about how she asked him to come and definitely check out the redlining event. So it wasn't really a UNO event that happened there, but so we'll see kind of the aftermath too. There were pictures of him at UNO, so I think some of the students did find out and check it out. But yeah, I mean, just overall, it felt very much like we welcomed brother West. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the rest of the city wasn't very welcoming, in whatever ways. So it was definitely individuals. Like I said, I talk about this all the time. We all work in these silos. We have powerful people, that are doing stuff like Terry Crawford inviting them over, BAA bringing them over, facilitating this whole event. You know, our chosen few are pulling things together and making it important. It's getting the rest of the people to see how important that is. We also need to impress on others outside of our group how important these things are. We preaching to the choir knowing they're important to us, but we need to make sure that it gets just as much fanfare as anybody else. Trump can be over in Iowa somewhere and get more fanfare than another presidential candidate that came out here and came into town and went to the universities and everything else. So
Yeah. And it's just funny because Dr. Cornel West isn't just a nobody farmer or some politician that's been hiding in the legislature for decades that you never really heard of. I mean, he's Dr. Cornel West. Like he's made albums and like he's been a public figure for quite some time. So yeah, it is very interesting to see just the response. But we're all here for it. We're here to support it. And I'm excited about his presidential candidacy, and looking forward to see how this shapes up as far as a presidential race.
there you go. Appreciate you, everybody who's jumping in the chat this morning and giving us some feedback on some things. We'll definitely continue to talk about Dr. West, his visit, Dr. Umar, his visit, Power Week that happened, the fact that BAA and Untamed were the sponsors for that, and also the awards that happened and everybody who got honored. There's a lot to unpack and talk about, and we'll definitely have some video footage and things of some of the things that went on if you didn't happen to be able to make it. So we'll definitely keep on talking about those things for sure. Sherman Wells in the chat says people will stay up on the information that they want to. That's very true. So people will tune into a season show every week and not miss an episode. If you seek, you shall find. You got that right.
Yeah.
Got that right. Jess Parker in the chat is a
Hey.
welcome. Says, I think the disconnect is mainstream media reporting on events after the fact rather than informing people prior to the event happening so they can attend. It's a choice. We work in media and know that it's a choice. We know that the campaign team sent out stuff to mainstream media to say he was coming to prepare for all those things, and they decided that they weren't going to do that. If anything, they would cover it if it made some kind of impact according to what their barometer is. So they sit in their newsrooms and make decisions on what it is they're going to talk about and not talk about.
Editorial discretion.
There you go. Tony Johnson in the chat is saying hard to get on social media because people post only to friends page, not public. If they're not friend online, you cannot see. And like you said, sometimes even if you're a friend, you don't get to see because of the way that Facebook throttles things down. Said I tried to post before, but Facebook group for First Guy has postponing limits and require approval now. Slow sharing of info. Just share relevant info. That's all, and we'll definitely get it up on Friends of First Guy Omaha. We appreciate everybody that does that. So we just want to make sure that we keep the conversation going once again.
Yeah.
Whitney Richardson says, I'm glad he got to see just how special this community is. His event was super energizing.
It
Very,
was.
very well said.
It was.
Yeah.
But not just again, Dr. West got some good conversation out of Dr. Umar too, man. Definitely one of the highlights for me and something that's been going on here on the show is how he broke down this whole school choice bill.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
again, that was a very clarifying
Yeah.
moment on the show. So definitely big shout out to Dr. Umar and again the BAA for bringing on Dr. Umar to help us bring some clarity to that situation because we actually have it in the news, and of course that issue will be making its way to the ballot next November. So continue that conversation, man. Got some real clarity from the so-called Prince of Pan Africanism, Dr. Umar Ifatunde. Again, letting us know what's going on in the schools.
Yeah, big time, man, big time. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump into a story or two before our senators get on. Our special guests come through, there was something about some school stuff in the headlines
Yes,
today, wasn't
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why I'm teasing it up. That's why I'm teasing it up
it?
because
Right on.
things aren't happening right now. Again, we are preparing for that school choice bill to go to the ballot in November. But as we speak right now, things are happening coming out of Lincoln. This reported from the Nebraska Examiner. Apparently, the first organizations have been certified to be able to provide those private scholarships to private schools to Nebraska K through 12 students. Again, State Senator Luann Linehan, who produced the bill, it says she is thrilled about the update. So we'll kind of talk about that
Mm.
and what that means going ahead of the November election and issues again going on the ballot. Also, speaking of the election, definitely paying attention to how independent candidates are being treated. Not only is the likes of Dr. West not getting a lot of fanfare as about his independent candidacy, but apparently there's another independent candidate making waves in Nebraska, a Nebraska labor leader who's running for Republican, or he's running against a Republican for the U.S. Senate seat, and apparently he's making some waves. So we'll definitely be talking about that initiative from Dan Osborne. Again, his campaign. Also, talking about communities, always looking at what's going on with business development, still following the money, although that was last season's theme, or actually season before theme, following the money. Last season was teamwork, making the dream work, and all of those things are coming to a head as there's a new business improvement district coming up in Little Bohemia. And again, kind of want to have the conversation to talk about and learn more about what a BID does, what it means, how it can impact the community. So definitely want to talk about that. And we haven't been able to get into it, but we have to at least try to get into this gun conversation. Again, the hearing on whether or not to arm teachers or the legislation of guns in K through 12 schools again went down last week. And we have not still been able to talk about it in detail. So again, we'd love to talk about that. Of course, we have the senators coming in. So as always, love to talk about whatever's on their hearts, their minds as we get closer to this next session starting up here in January. But yeah, as always, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that you'd like to discuss, feel free to drop that into the chat. I see the chat going off. So keep the comments coming, man. We appreciate you. We love you. We're here to have the conversation. As I always say, conversation rules the nation, y'all.
Big time, big time. Brother Kasim in the chat says our own validation is all that is needed to succeed. He said that's the mission: walking our own, waking our own up, getting our own activated, etc. We learned of our oppressor and their intent. We cannot expect fairness from them. Let's mobilize around the Omaha Star. Let's mobilize around First Sky Omaha and William King Show. Let's make our mission clear for us by us, for us by us, and let's learn to maximize like they have done for their own in this country for the last 500 years. I can only speak for myself. At least my personal mission is to show us how great we are by relying on us, one another, for all of our source.
There you go.
Most definitely. When we're talking about making sure that we make events like what just happened this last week as big as any event that a mainstream media can do it, we're definitely talking about us doing it on our own, and to our own. Like I said, I spoke to a lot of members of the black community did not hear that happened
Yeah.
because they missed the show or whatever the deal. And that's really what I'm talking about. It's not it's also it's to inform us. That's how I feel about it. We definitely need to make sure that everybody in our community knows these things are happening. But it's also the way that the outside communities are seeing us as well. They need to see that this is that important as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It may not be for them, but but at least it's going to hold. It needs to hold the same kind of weight because our community. We watch. If we watch mainstream media, if we watch Channel 6, Channel 7, CNN, then we know a thing, and we hold that at a certain level, and we want to be able to hold our news at that same level. And that's what I mean by making sure that what it is that we got going on is as big as anything else happening as well. It's still for us, but it needs to be on that level. And
Yeah.
that's why we're sticklers for trying to have the right tech and making things look decent and all those things, man. We want to make sure that we're living up to a standard because our standard should be just as high as anybody else's standard for their community as well. So
There you go. It's all
yeah,
about
yeah.
excellence, y'all. It's all about black excellence.
Yes, well, there you go. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Tony, let's see in the chat real quick. Tony Johnson says OPS still has no plan to improve academics and lower black expulsions. Every time I reach out to Ricky Smith and Brianna Full, no response. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we'll definitely be talking to at least Brianna Full here pretty soon as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Update.
uh, and keep on putting that invitation out to Ricky Smith about coming on. So we'll definitely see if we can figure out something there. Tonight, Patterson said almost a third of voters claim independent or nonpartisan. I would think there would be a bigger focus on independent candidates in this state, unless they aren't really. Kimber says something interesting. She says, "You mean you're talking about that Democrat, that person that ran independent against the Republicans?" She says, "You mean the Democrat who was told to run as an independent?" Let me
Hmm.
sip my tea and shut up. We need some more information on that.
Let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's go ahead and dive into it. This is actually coming out of The Intercept, so not any local news outlets covering this.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we are talking about Dan Osborne, a 48-year-old military vet who helped lead the 2021 strikes against food giants. Kellogg's launched a challenge against 72-year-old Nebraska Republican Senator Deb Fisher in October. And a poll conducted by Chains Research, a liberal research firm, shows that Osborne is leading Fisher by a margin of 2 points. Nebraska has voted for a Republican president every year since 1964, and the survey conducted in November shows the respondents favor more towards former President Donald Trump over President Joe Biden by a margin of 16. However, Osborne's slight edge in the poll, about a 40% to Deb Fisher's 38%, comes up despite 59% of respondents saying that they have never heard of him before. Fisher, meanwhile, has represented Nebraska in the Senate for a decade and sits on the influential armed services and agricultural committees. In response to a question that described both Osborne's and Fisher's backgrounds, 50% of respondents said they'd vote for Osborne, while only 30% said they vote for Fisher. Nebraskans have had it with Washington. We've been starving for honest government that isn't bought and paid for, according to Osborne. This poll shows that Nebraskans' independent streak is alive and well. So, Democrats have so far not fielded a candidate in the Senate race, which is interesting. Going towards Kimra's point, there is no Democrats running in that race. In October, shortly after Osborne's announcement, Nebraska Democratic Party Chair Jane Cleve said state Democrats were considering supporting his bid. Cleve said told the Intercept that the state party would make an endorsement decision in February and that Osborne could win if the money is there. He could appeal to populists and progressives, Cleve said, with many Nebraska voters tired of one party controlling the state. Makes politicians lazy when you have only one party in control and more beholden to corporate interests since they don't have to answer to voters. So it is interesting to see the Democrats are backing this. Osborne's candidacy comes as Democrats face a challenging battle next year to remain their razor-thin Senate majority. Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, has announced that he will not run for re-election, but guaranteeing a Republican pickup in West Virginia, while Senators John Tester from Montana and Sherrod Brown from Ohio are vying to defend seats in states Trump won in 2020. So it's definitely going to be a standoff ahead of this next presidential election to see who controls the Senate, who controls Congress, and Nebraska may play a role in that. So we'll definitely keep a close eye on this seat.
It's gonna be interesting to keep a close eye on just this whole independent situation, nonpartisan situation altogether. We've learned so much about all of that in the past couple of weeks, and it seems to be something that's an ongoing conversation now to really kind of figure out what's going on with that whole scene, man. Like what does that exactly mean? I remember the first time I got wind of that was becoming an independent, realizing that you can vote on the Democratic ballot as an independent, and but you can't vote on the Republican ballot as an independent in this
Mm-hmm.
state. In this state as a nonpartisan, excuse me, in this state, which is what they say here and only here, apparently nonpartisan. So yeah, it's really kind of interesting, and then it does kind of make me think about like what Miss Kimber Snipes said about it. Like it was a Democrat that asked to run as an independent. Like what was he asked to run as an independent? What's the strategy here? What's going on with
Right.
the strategy on all these things? And so I don't know. It's just something that we definitely got to keep the eye on. My first, I also got wind of independents deciding to go nonpartisan because and then they vote more centered or to the right even. They want to kind of they love the Second Amendment, but they also want whatever other kind of rights. So what I'm saying, like where exactly do they stand on anything? We just talked to Dr. Cornell West that has made it clear that he stands for the people. He's a poor
Mm-hmm.
people advocate. Anybody oppressed is who he cares for and wants to do something to help. But where does everybody else stand on it on issues when they call themselves independent? What does that exactly mean? So
Yeah, again, finding out that it's not a party. Like, what is the spectrum? Where do you fall on that spectrum? I guess a lot of chat chimers are saying that a lot of independents are kind of leaning, as you said, towards the right. We'll see about this Osborne. Again, this is kind of my first time hearing about him. As the poll said, a lot of voters have not heard about him either. So kind of keep a close eye on this race. Is this a new term, a Eno? Is he a Eno independent in name only? Is that a thing? Is that what we're seeing now? Kind of, let the political games begin, I guess.
I guess so. Wanda Lewis says you have to focus on the platform and not the party.
Mm-hmm.
Candidates switch parties all the time if they think it'll secure a win. Thanks for that reminder. That's very true.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me. Kimmer Snipes says independents weren't always able to do that either. We voted on that as a state central committee some years ago to allow independents to do that. Talking about voting on a Democratic ballot. So they weren't able to do that before. That's interesting. Tanai Patterson says focus on policy votes. Switching parties all the time is fraudulent. Hmm.
Man. So I guess everybody's kind of seeing past the party politics, if you will. So let's speak to his platform a little bit. Again, about this Osborne fellow.
Mhm.
Osborne has focused his campaign, according to his article, on labor and economic issues and the cross-partisan coalition he aims to build. So it looks like he's planning on working across the line. He says, I will bring together workers, farmers, ranchers, and small business owners across Nebraska around bread and butter issues that appeal across party lines. His platform spans from raising pay for service members and taking on agricultural consolidation to legalizing medical marijuana and pledging to quote unquote never supporting handing huge pharmaceuticals a blank check. The Independent also calls to reform railroad safety with measures like requiring two-person crews and increasing fines for violating railroad safety laws. Some things that are being mirrored in Ohio after a disastrous Norfolk Southern derailment earlier this year. So it seems like he's coming from the kind of blue collar angle, if you will, kind of again speaking to the working fellow, the working man and woman out there. But again, we'll see. We'll see kind of how this happens. Is this just kind of political posturing? Is this kind of the real deal? Just got to see.
Good question. Um, let's see. I was going to jump at the chat real quick. Marianne Williams. Good morning. She says, "Morning. That's for the primary. Republicans don't allow independents to help pick the candidate. Dems
Mm-hmm.
do. Each state is different, though." Thanks for the clarification there. Margie Miller Jenkins in the chat. Good morning. Says people are seeing Dems and Republicans as two sides of the same coin. When you look at their funding and issues, they will actually push for. Anything outside of those sides seems appealing. For real. Also, Wanda Lewis says we seen candidates switch from Republican to Democrat even. So
Yeah.
to their point, they're people are jumping ship and switching parties and stuff a lot. and it really kind of reminds you to focus on what it is they're standing for, standing on, more than
Yeah.
anything else.
I mean, just what are the issues? How, regardless of what party that you fall in, obviously we're all seeing that really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Because a shout out to Kimra who kind of put us on the idea of this political spectrum and I forget the actual name of it, but where do you fall on this political spectrum? You can still be a Democrat, and I mean we've seen the separation within the Republican Party over several years. So just because you're Democrat or Republican, that still doesn't tell us where your ideologies are and where you lie on the issues.
very true. Speaking of the issues, we got a special guest waiting in the wings who tackles issues all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and bring on brother and Senator Justin Wayne in the house.
Hey,
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Boy, you done got cleaned up, suited and booted.
yeah, looking
Man,
good.
I got a little court things I gotta do today. I gotta go out and work for a living.
Okay.
Hear that? I
More
hear
power
that.
to you. More power to you. How's everything been over the last couple days, couple weeks?
Things are good, man. I can't complain. I mean, complaining don't never help anyway.
Right,
So
right, right.
but no, things are good. And I saw a lot of feedback from Cornell West and him being here yesterday. So that's I think anytime at this point we getting people from outside of Omaha talking about issues, and maybe we can step out of our comfort zone and have a different conversation.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel too. I definitely love the fact that you get somebody in from out of town. They're saying the thing that you might be thinking, and then you got some. It feels like ammo. It feels like you can now you got a little back. You can speak up a little louder on something, or get some clarification. When Dr. Umar came into town too, he said a few things that made me say put it in a kind of perspective where I was getting a little bit more clear idea of what it is that I'm feeling and thinking on the subject too. So that's what's happening. We missed you out there, man. I was hoping to see you last night, brother West. Couldn't make it.
No, I was. My daughter has basketball practice, and I coach her team. So I said putting some family and some things like that first. So that's where I'm
Yeah.
focused at.
I hear that.
Daddy duties.
How's
I'm all
how's
about it.
how's your daughter's team doing?
I'm the coach. They're doing great. I mean, when they lose, it's their fault. When we win, it's my fault. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Oh man. Other than
Man, so
that, man, how are
what's
you?
going on with y'all, man? How's
Oh,
your DED application and all that good
oh
stuff?
yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, they sent us a letter saying that we've been approved for a certain amount that's way lower than what our budget said. So we've had to assess whether or not we are going to even accept that because we don't want to accept state money with and it doesn't go along with our plans. So we've been in touch with them for the past couple of weeks saying, demanding an answer. Are we going to be able to have a chance to change our plan to match what it is that you've offered so that we do not get in trouble with this money? And they finally hit back and said, you got one last chance to give to be able to put your new plan out there, and then it'll have to get approved after that. So we're in the process of a whole nother hoop to jump through, a whole nother
Yeah.
application.
So
And
you couldn't change your plan to apply. Then they said, okay, we'll give you only portion of what you actually asked for. And you said, well, we need to change our plan to match what you're gonna give us. And they said, well, if you do that, we gotta go back all through the process.
no, we got to go through this. They have that last hoop regardless. They're just saying
Regardless.
we have an opportunity to submit a new plan for that last hoop.
Okay.
Yeah. Our
Basically,
third application in this whole process.
Well, good luck. Third time's a charm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, it's still a matter of we. Like I said, we know from thanks to y'all, thanks to talking to you guys on a regular basis about this and understanding more about the process that you got to be careful if you're taking state money. There's going to be some folks out here that take money that they get and be in trouble because they took it and they did it wrong, and so on and so forth. It might not be just as simple as having to pay it back. It might be you in some actual legal trouble.
Right.
So thanks for that information.
Yeah,
and
that's my fear though. I've talked to a couple other people who are in the same kind of predicament, and my fear is they're setting people up to fail. So I feel like
Hmm.
it's they're gonna give you just enough support to fail, and I don't like that idea.
I mean, I honestly don't feel like we've been getting a lot of support. Like we got a few questions answered, but this has been, I would say, a rocky situation. It's been very rocky.
I mean, so I saw in the chat group, but just like if you go to the DED's Facebook, they're doing all these announcements of where they're announcing things that they're funding, et cetera, et cetera. Every Western one I've seen has their senator in it, except for the North Omaha ones.
What?
So it's interesting. That's all.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely going to continue to watch how this thing plays out. There's still going to be some years of reporting and accountability and kind of looking at how this plays out. But I'm just curious. I'm curious to see how it's going to happen, and curious to see again who is getting the real support. We've talked about it. I mean, 50,000 here and there ain't really going to do much.
No, it's actually against the entire plan. We know. I mean, there was even issues with how the Olson report came out, but the fundamental purpose was we didn't want to spread this too thin. We wanted to make some substantial transformational change, and that don't happen with giving everybody just a little bit. It's like we got to lock in on some areas and make some fundamental changes. And I don't know. I guess we'll see. They told us in an email yesterday they plan on getting all this allocated and awards out by the end of the year. So they got 24 days and a holiday to figure it out. Otherwise, there will be a bill introduced to move funding around.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have faith in that timeline?
I don't have faith really in government, period. So we just go. We're gonna go broader than just that conversation. Like at the end of the day, I think they'll get dollars out. I don't know where it's going to necessarily go. And I don't know. It's just interesting. I mean, so we are kind of waiting. And this weekend we go back down to Lincoln. We do what's called a legislative council. That's where the senators get together and start talking about kind of big issues going through the next session. But it seems like according to the agenda, we're going to be talking about rules. And so that'll be a big debate. They're trying to change the rules. Couple of the rule or tactics that I used last year, they want to get rid of, and a couple of the tactics that I've done in the past, they kind of want to get rid of. But to me, every rule change is about limiting the minority voice and power of the minority to stop bills. And I told the speaker last week, I said, if you pass in some major legislation, it shouldn't be easy. Like at the end of the day, somebody should be able to throw up whatever they can as far as roadblocks to make sure that you come to a compromise on that, make sure that the bill is right. And so I don't know. We'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there.
We're going to bring on our second special guest, Senator Terrell McKinney, waiting in the wings. Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Peace.
Tired, boss. We tired. It was late night partying with Dr. West last night. So
man, long weekend. But we here. Definitely glad to have you gentlemen joining us here on this hump day. It was definitely good seeing you out and about, Senator McKinney. Yeah. How was your weekend? Did you enjoy the events?
My weekend was all right. I got in a crash on Friday. Got taken out. Then a wrestling tournament, so that was cool. And then I just tried to figure out what I'm gonna do about a car. So still working through that.
Man, I'm in the same boat, boss. I'm in the same boat. It's a struggle.
Hey, so I wasn't gonna say nothing. So it's crazy because for whatever reason I took my daughter to school and I went down 75 and I see this car wreck. So I'm like, man, let me call McKinney. It kind of looks like his car. So I call him. I'm like, hey, bro, you doing all right this morning? And he was like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm on my way to the hospital. And I was like, oh man, that was you, huh? So then I had to go into Olivia Pope mode, went down, started taking pictures, and we're gonna be all right.
Well, I'm glad you're all right, man. It sounds like everybody's okay though from the accident.
Yeah. I mean, it was a car flipped over. So
what?
Man, I mean, he being very nonchalant about all of this.
I know you ain't talking about being nonchalant about stuff like that. You and brother Terrell, the same kind of brother right there. How you doing, man? I'm doing all right, man. We got in a car wreck on the freeway though, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine. You do the same thing, boy.
Man.
Okay, man. So the car flipped, but like you said, everybody's not. Nobody's physically injured, so as long as everybody all right. But that's pretty major. Car flipping on the freeway, pretty major.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Okay. Well. He was like, yeah, flipped the car on the freeway, had a wrestling tournament. It was a good weekend.
Man, same old. Another day in the life.
We have been. It's interesting that you just asked about. Senator Wayne just asked us about what was going on with us and the whole, thing with the DED, the money and all that. Kind of forgot about it this week because it's been like Power Week for us. Shout out to the BAA for the award that they gave us, for bringing Dr. Umar over, for bringing Dr. West over. And we just been kind of like geeking out on that on the media tip, man, because that's if we got this thing going, that's the reason why we want to be able to capture some of that and engage. So I appreciate you bringing us back to reality about what's going on here and bringing us back to that conversation about what the DED is doing. I know that, Brother Senator McKinney, you said at one point you're going to be on a committee that's going to be kind of digging in and looking at what they did and how they did things. What's going on with that?
I mean, we're on the committee, the Economic Recovery Special Committee, me and Senator Wayne and I think 5 other senators. I sent an email to him the other day because I sent the email like way at the beginning of November asking about what was the process, when were they going to provide updates, mainly because I think it'd be wrong if they put out any of this and never talk to us. Like, I would like a notice of like, okay, we're going to put this out so we will be prepared to respond and answer questions from the community. So we're still waiting to get those updates over a month now. So we'll see when it happens.
So there really hasn't been any communication between the senators who passed the bill and the DED.
No, but whenever it comes out, all the blame is going to be placed on us. So that's what I'm trying to tell them. Like, whether y'all like this or not, everybody going to look at us, and then I'm going to have to answer some questions. And if I can't answer some questions, I'm going to be a mad person.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's wrong, honestly, because people ain't gonna call DD and say DD messed up. They're gonna say Terrell and Justin messed up and this and that, and like it's anything they do wrong falls on us. And I just would appreciate proper communication.
Mm-hmm. But the way that the process is going now, it's all out of your hands. It's all the DD, all this now third application process we got to go through.
But
that's
the
all
problem is it's out of our hands. But how many people know it's out of our hands? As much as we said it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everybody that's here knows and can spread the word. Tell a friend, Ghost Listeners Radio and Chat Chimers.
Man.
Stephen Abraham says, was there any stipulation in the North and South Omaha bill about unfair treatment during the funding process? Was there something in place there?
No, not really. We just laid out the process and kind of went from there. Like I said, part of what I've been trying to tell people is this has never been done. So you got, 2 brothers who are trying to just think of everything. And then as you go through the process, you're like, oh man, we didn't think about that. We couldn't even fathom that they would have did this. We couldn't, so now it's just how you clean that up going into at least my last year and make sure that we put some guardrails around anything going forward.
How much support are you getting from other senators, and how much, many of the other senators are matching this energy? And I'm just talking about the other senators that helped pass the bill. I think Carol Blood's name is on it. Tony Vargas. Like, what are you seeing from them to make sure that this is done right?
I ain't heard from them.
Okay.
Well.
Now I've heard from people on the other side of the aisle.
What have they been saying?
They're kind of waiting to see how. I think on Thursday and Friday at this Ledge Council, we're gonna get asked a lot of questions. But conservatives don't want to do the social programs, and so they're hearing that a lot of this is going to be going to nonprofits, and they've been asking us about it, and they're frustrated by that. So because we sold this as jobs and creating wealth and closing the wealth gap, and not nothing again. I'm not knocking on nonprofits. I'm just saying at the end of the day, you're not passing anything on to your kids. You're not building wealth. And many of the nonprofits that applied is capital projects, and they true job creators.
So when you say that people are going to be blaming y'all when this goes a certain way, you even people in the legislature will be saying it's how come this stuff, asking you guys how come this is going to nonprofits as if you had anything to do with that.
Well, I don't think I think they understand, at least the senators understand that it's not us. They're more venting like, this isn't what we voted on, y'all. This isn't what we said. One in particular says, "Oh, Jimmy's screwing you guys, huh?" And I'm like, I ain't commenting.
Wow.
So he don't even call him governor because he called him Jimmy. So I just leave it at that. That's between him and Jimmy. I ain't involved in that.
But I do find that interesting because Jimmy or Jim Pillen is a Republican governor, and you hear the Republican rhetoric of no government spending as far as the social programming, and the DED is a part of his administration. Like, he appointed the director of the DED. The DED is a part of the governor's administration. Are you hearing anything from the governor speaking up about social programs? Or
I think that's what you're going to see this year play out as the disconnect. It's already playing out with the school increased funding, and schools out there still increase their property taxes. And there were many conservatives who were saying, this is going to happen if you don't put some guardrails around these school districts. And it was his first year. I think he believed some school districts would just do it out of the goodness of their heart. And so I think there's a learning curve also for the governor. But to your point, it's his administration. So when this goes to some nonprofits or something like that, it all falls on him.
There you go.
He's the one that's got to sign off on all that in the end anyway, right? That's the last step.
Correct.
Tanaya Patterson in the chat says that vote to put it in Republican hands, there was more faith in a base to do right than the original federal allocation under Democrats. The timeline didn't change that much. Any extra time is going to be ate up by Republican sabotage.
So the one thing we did to address that timeline issue is we did move it from federal dollars. We put state dollars. So the only timeline on there, which is 2026, 2027, is just set by the state. But I think we got a pretty good plan going into next session to how we're going to move this out of DED's hands and the governors.
And so, regardless of if it was state dollars or federal dollars, it always was going through DED. So it was always going through the governor.
That's my next question.
What money was being used, it was no Democratic control. Once the money got sent to the state of Nebraska, it was in the governor's hands. So regardless of state dollars or federal dollars, it's in DD's hands to implement whatever we were doing. So it doesn't matter what stream of money has come from. It was in DD's hands, just to clarify.
That was my next question. I appreciate that. So when you talk about trying to get it out of the DED's hands in the future, where would it go? Who would control it then?
That's the $1 million question that we are. We could do a program directly to the city, but if you think about how the city did their COVID dollars, and they handed a lot out to nonprofits, we could put it in the Department of Energy. We could put it. We could do a lot of places. The issue is the legislature can't direct it to like themselves, and so it got to go through the executive branch or through some other government entity, and that's the issue. My original bill the original bill we had the legislature kind of doing some things, and it was quickly pointed out. I was hoping they wasn't paying attention that that's unconstitutional, and so we risked the whole bill being thrown out. So we have to put it somewhere. The city of Omaha, Douglas County, like the options are limited, but I think we're gonna figure that out here the next week.
Okay. Wanda Lewis said those who apply for funding are trying to maintain their composure and not trying to kick up dust. However, being a good sport doesn't always get the job done. Yeah, good thoughts on that. I guess
I
I
mean,
guess
I would say just kick up dust in the right direction. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's
yeah,
all I would say.
I mean, there's no point in holding back from asking questions. I mean, like our going through our process. I know a couple people down there are real sick of me because I'm constantly I will reword an email several times in order to get the answer I'm trying to get. And
man.
and and they've a couple times they've come back and says we're not allowed to say these things back. We just have to straight up say that to you. Okay.
Just email everybody in authority. You get a better response.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Don't email the managers. Email the directors.
the
Yeah.
grant managers.
Yep. We're still trying to get members of the DED on the show. As a matter of fact, we put a call out to them each week to come on the show. I've talked to.
That's just mind blowing to me that at the end of the day, we are putting 200 something million into a community, and we don't want to talk about it. That's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seems interesting. And like I said, these amounts that they offered us and the amounts that I've seen other people get offered feels like dealing with like foundations. It feels like dealing
yeah,
with it's like a nonprofit check. You know what I'm saying? It's like if we really have to do some work on figuring out how we gonna grow some economic development with this amount of money. Like that's really kind of now we're in a position, and then still might and then the plan we come up with still might not meet their satisfaction for that. So as soon as we got word that they sent that they shot that they were going to approve a certain amount for us, and we realized it was light years away from what we asked, and how would we revamp our plan? It immediately just was like, you know what, never mind. I
yeah.
was my mind went to like, you know what, keep your money. That's how I felt. And you know what I'm saying? It took me a couple of days to go, let me think about this rationally. And the reason why I even said let's go through this process and figure this thing out is because I feel like they offered that so that people can say that. People can go, you know what, never mind, keep that money. Go on, put it on that lake out west somewhere. Like just go on.
Man, 900 million on the lake between Omaha and Lincoln. But yeah, I'm right there with Paul as far as just feeling like we've fallen far from the original intent of the bill. That's why every time we have this conversation with you senators, I have to ask like, where are we as far as the original intent? And I think it's fair to say we've fallen far from that right now.
Someone was asking in the chat earlier. I guess there was a news article that I missed out there about Charles Drew getting some money. They said they snubbed you, Senator McKinney, who was the person who got that happening, and they didn't say anything about you. What's that all about? Do you know anything about that news piece?
I don't know. I saw it on my timeline too. No mention of. It mentioned the bill briefly, but no mention of myself or Senator Wayne or anything about us. It
I'm
was
just
interesting, and then it was they posted something I think the other day and made sure to post a white senator. So, that's how they treat us.
I'm gonna have to start. I feel like now I'm gonna have to ask every time now. Like it's getting real painfully obvious. They just gonna not even recognize you guys' contribution here. I even get upset at having it. Like we talking about the DED all the time when it comes to this now, and we're probably the only ones that's saying, "Hey, is this even the intent of the bill?" Reminding people who put the bill out in the first place. Who else is even talking? Who else is even
I
talking about
mean,
that? It
but I
seems
think
very intentional.
I think it's across the board of the lack of acknowledge. Not to say we need flowers or anything, but the lack of acknowledgement of what we were able to accomplish
Mm-hmm.
from everywhere. Like went to DC to the White House. They talking about highlights of stuff that as far as money, no mention of 1024. It. So I'm just saying, like, it feels deliberate in a way. Not even in a way. It just honestly feels deliberate. Like, why would we highlight two black men that were able to get this amount of money passed for a black community? Because why would we show this example? Because if we do, more people gonna try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel. I just think it's racist across the board. Racism, not wanting to highlight black men doing something for the black community to economically change the condition of the black community. And they're suppressing that information. and trying to mess it up so the foundations are also. I think they're all complicit in trying to make sure the Black community in Omaha doesn't ever succeed.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like this whole situation, just coming into it, had a lot of excitement, a lot of hope, and kind of lost a lot of wind in the sails about how this is playing out. Trying to remain hopeful, trying to remain just like kind of keep the skepticism down, if you will. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to see how this is playing out. So yeah, we'll definitely continue to put pressure on DED to try to get somebody from down there to come in and speak with us and maybe answer some questions.
Looking at this Twitter post here, Senator Cantwell, is that the senator that you were saying is getting recognized for some business strategy here? I'm seeing 31 regional tech hubs announced today to boost American innovation, manufacturing, and jobs, including Spokane as the aerospace materials manufacturing hub. Talking about tech hubs, we did an article on several tech hubs that's going around the country. In Omaha, was Omaha mentioned? Is that the reason why we did that story, buddy? Do you remember?
It's because Omaha was not mentioned. It was not designated as a federal tech hub.
And that's one example of I sent you that because that's one example where we went out to the White House, talked about McKinney's LB 450 iHub. We were one of the few states that were best positioned because we've already allocated money to this iHub, and you see right there that Nebraska, Iowa, North Dakota didn't even apply, but we were one of the few states that were leading, and we left DC, and Senator McKinney was never invited to a meeting at all, even though there was a whole bunch of meetings going on with the governor and how the state of Nebraska was going to apply. They try to push it out to Fremont. One of the requirements is you had to be in some poverty areas, some disenfranchised areas. You get extra points on the grant, just things like that Nebraska could have led in. And because, in my opinion, they didn't want a Black man to lead it, they just decided to go a different direction, and that's the result we get.
And what does the iHub designation do? Is it like a direction of funds, resources? What?
Well, in Omaha, I mean, in Nebraska, you have opportunity to, if you're down by within 2 miles of the airport, opportunity to apply for $30 million. But at the federal level, it opened up another $250 to $1 billion over the next 5 years to focus on. And you could have focused on different areas, but the way Senator McKinney wrote the bill and got it passed 2 years ago, we were actually one of the few leading in the country that could have used this money and leveraged it.
Trying to wrap our heads around what a BID would mean in the community and what maybe opportunity we have lost. Is there still hope in that? What is it? Is that something like individual organizations goes and applies for? Is that something that has to go through the state? How is that done?
Individuals could have applied. The city was left out of the conversation with the governor's office. There were a group of people. A couple of the Black Knights was involved, so I just had to throw that out there. And they put together, like I said, we had a strategy going in for North Omaha, 16th Street to become a tech hub. And then they decided to push it out to Fremont, actually try to recruit 2 of the companies that I went out and recruited to come to North Omaha, started pushing them to Fremont, to their inland port, actually. And we were just left completely out, despite the fact that we reached out to the governor multiple times and reached out to the people involved. And then the day of the application, they tried to call Senator McKinney and I to come meet him at a coffee shop and help write it. And I was like, man, I couldn't do it. But 2, like, y'all have ignored us the entire time.
And try to call you at the very last minute.
Man, it was like 3:00. The app was due at 5.
Yeah, you can't get nothing done like that.
That's crazy, man. MEH Dot in the chat is asking, senators, how would you have handled this or attacked this differently in hindsight?
Probably would have directed money specifically to stuff, all of it. wouldn't have left it. We probably would have just, in my opinion, found some projects, honestly, and not give DD any discretion to mess it up. So
wouldn't they have acted like y'all had cherry picked stuff and you know what I'm
That
saying?
that's the downside to it is we be on
yep.
here explaining why we picked winners and losers.
Mhm.
And how come they didn't get funded? How come this didn't get funded? Terrell beat somebody in wrestling. That's why he didn't get funded. Like, it'd be all, and so that's the downside to it. But hey, y'all, I gotta hop. I gotta go down to the courthouse at 9 o'clock. So I appreciate y'all, and let's keep these conversations going.
For
Yeah,
sure,
man.
man.
Appreciate you too.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Peace. Uh appreciate you coming on. It's 8:25 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, he as soon as he said 9 o'clock, I was like, what's going on here? Let me look up and see what's happening.
What
So,
time is it?
so I appreciate you guys hanging on and appreciate your comments and questions. And you guys are talking amongst each other on these different subjects as well. In the chat, Stephen Abraham says they in quotations suppressed me about my imprint on the Spencer and South Terrace projects that allowed HUD points to be used for housing and infrastructure development and services. Those nights ain't all black.
Mm.
No, it's the Omaha Knights and it's the Black Knights.
Omaha Nights, and then there's the Black Knights. Okay, so we learned about these organizations out here that are kind of behind the scenes on some things. We'll have
Yeah, moving and grooving. Chestnut checkers, huh?
put this. Let me write this note down on that. We'll come back to that at some point.
Yeah.
Let's move on past this real quick while we still got you, brother. I know you got a long day as well. But what tell us beyond this ARPA funds and the MUD. I mean, I'm sorry, the
DD.
DED stuff. Yeah. What else is happening in your world as far as bills coming up? We heard there's going to be some pretty hot topics coming up next legislative session. What are you preparing for?
I'm just trying to figure out what bills I'm going to introduce next session. Trying to go through that list and get some drafts back and get them edited before we get back into the session. So looking at like some stuff around affordable housing, some parole bills, uh, trying to provide more access to SNAP for individuals in the community, just different things like that. I don't know. It's also going into a session that is going to go south at any time. So it's like, how many bills do you introduce? But I wake up with ideas every day, so I don't know how many I'm going to introduce, but
Yeah,
we'll see. Every time I go to a meeting and talk to somebody, it sparks a new idea. So
right.
Yeah, got to be strategic. Got to be
yeah.
strategic. But some of the bills that you have been a part of in the past that are moving forward that we're looking at as far as gun control, that's still a big issue. Of course, education is going to be a big issue. I am kind of curious. What are your thoughts about how the school choice situation is moving? I know that you kind of have some opinions on that, and it's still ahead of the ballot, so we might be seeing some changes within the following months. What are
I
your
mean,
thoughts?
it is what it is. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I see that they found like the grant organizations and they're
Yeah.
certified. So we'll see how that process goes and how that shakes out. Then you got the whole thing that's going to be on the ballot. So we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, I stand the same as I was every time I've ever spoken about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I just feel like our kids deserve some type of option of not to be sent to felon schools. Is it the solution? No. But what is the solution? And if this is changed on the ballot and then it's not whatever, you can't do scholarships or anything. I think we really need to have a real conversation and get in a real meeting and talk about how do we improve public schools, because honestly, it's failing Black kids. It's failing kids, period, but especially kids that look like us. And then we wonder why we seeing all these kids in the juvenile system, keep seeing them on the news, why they built a new juvenile jail, it's so many kids in the system right now that they can't even open it because they got to keep the other one open. Then they're building another prison that's going to house those kids eventually. So regardless of the scholarship thing, to me, it's just looking at education, period, and how are we educating kids, especially Black kids in North Omaha, and how are we going to make sure that they're not failed anymore, because currently they're being failed. Like literally, like you got high schools where under 50% of the kids are on track to graduate.
Yep.
So let's be honest here. Like public schools don't work for our people, and they never have. And people keep saying like systems were built to fail us. Yes. So how are we going to fix it? Regardless, I'm not saying the scholarship thing was the solution. It was just a shot to try something else. And that's all it is for me. And no, I know it's not perfect, and I know we need to set up some, things for Black schools to be created. And I know people that are working on that, but we got to start somewhere. Do we keep saying we don't have this, so we might as well not even try? Or do we put something in place then and try? Because the alternative is just failure. And people could like it or not, but that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And then there's the idea of doing both. I mean, we need to reform public schools at the same time, have options for other schools as well. I got really inspired when Dr. Umar came through talking about his school, and it flashed me back, man. I know that you live with a thing, and then you don't even really realize that it's that present in your brain. But I went to a private school that my family built and owned for the first 5 years of my life. My grandfather was the principal of the school. My mom taught first grade. You know what I'm saying? They built the school from scratch in their community, and in the first 5 years of my life, I was in that, and it was like, oh man, if I'm inspired by this brother that's come out here talking about building a school, maybe that's where First Sky Omaha goes, where we end up building a school for young Black kids. This bill, if this thing passes and these vouchers are allowed, then that would hopefully help that situation out. If we ended up eventually building the school, then that is in place for that. But I like what you're saying there on that, because I definitely, from contemplating what Dr. Umar was talking about there, definitely see the parts of that's pretty nefarious, that people that is being used wrongly, and now I'm kind of, I'm definitely understanding the thing about how vouchers are being used and stuff now. But like you're saying, it's a shot. It might not be the solution. There's got to be other things in place, but at least it's something. At least it's movement on the subject as well. That's what I'm understanding you're feeling, and that's what I match that feeling.
Yeah, it's just a lot of opinions about, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. So my whole thing is right, wrong, or indifferent. What is the plan to improve the educational outcomes of Black kids in the state of Nebraska? That's what we need to have a conversation about. Whether it's going to both public schools and private schools and providing that opportunity, or just public schools, we need to get together and figure out how are we going to increase educational outcomes for Black kids. And we all don't have to agree, but that's the honest conversation that we need to have, is how are we going to work together? How are we going to get together as a community and start improving educational outcomes of Black kids? Because they're being failed mentally in public schools too, physically in public schools too. What I'm trying to say is, everything that you say is wrong in that other system is the same. It's wrong in a system. We have no, currently there is no system, whether it's private or public, that substantially is a great example for the education of Black kids. And at least, in my opinion, I don't think we should just be funneling them through one of those systems. Like, we got to try something. It works for some kids. I got little cousins that was getting suspended every day in OPS. They're in private school now, being successful, thriving. And it's some that it don't work for. That's all I'm saying. It's not, there's no perfect here or perfect there. It's just, let's be honest. Stop cherry picking the issues and just have an honest conversation. Black kids are being failed. We got to try everything.
Yeah,
there's too many variables to not have a bunch of different options to try. I'm also thinking about what you're saying about I'm looking at the chat and I'm thinking, people are talking about parents need to be involved. People are talking about the first step should be switching from indoctrination to education. There's so many factors involved there that it makes sense. And one thing that this school choice thing is doing is starting the conversation that you're talking about. We have it's in the zeitgeist now because of the fact that that people have to go one way or another on this thing, and whichever way you go is firing up this conversation, which is the most important thing.
Every like private public schools deny kids to talk to people. They deny kids too based on disabilities and all type of stuff. So I as that's why I don't like the conversation, because I think we get too deep in the weeds and not stay on cue about how are we going to improve the educational outcomes of Black kids. That's at the core of my whole being, and what I'm trying to do is find ways to improve educational outcomes, because the numbers I'm seeing are horrible, and nobody could justify having high schools in North Omaha where under 50% of those kids are on track to graduate.
Right. So I think I definitely agree with your statement about getting lost in the weeds in this conversation, and you kind of just lose sight of what the real issue and what the conversation is. Kind of going in that circle, that cycle. Talk about the issues, and I definitely want to focus on the solutions. And I am kind of curious: do you see a way to legislate, like, now that again the funding of the choices and the scholarships is now on the ballot, and we'll see in November if that stays. But for right now, it exists, and right now, as you stated, there's already been reported organizations are being qualified and designated as organizations to provide those scholarships. But the big issue is, again, we're not set up to take advantage of that in our communities. So do you see a way to legislate a path for to make it
I
easier to
mean,
create private schools
I
or even
mean there I
homeschooling?
mean there is a path. Create a school and go through the path of getting certified by the Nebraska Department of Education. That path is there. People are working on it. They're trying to work through the path. Like, soon as they're certified and established, they could accept kids and accept scholarship. The path is open. Somebody just has to take the path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes sense. I'm going to jump into the chat a little bit. Miss Erica Phelps says, I think the bill is fine, but not now. We needed good schools in place to send our children to first. This bill doesn't create schools. Again, good points, but again, I feel like the gist of the things we're talking about here is we're in the weeds with that. Really, the larger conversation needs to be, what do we do? We got to try all. We got to do all. Also, Brother Knight says that way kids know that going to school is about the business of learning. Looks like missed something he said earlier on that. Apologize. Miss Whitney Richardson says, I like Dr. Umar's idea of Black parents becoming organized and demanding better from school districts for Black children. Most deaf. Also, Maggie Miller Jenkins says, where's the talks on what schools you're pushing to build? How about pushing to remove No Child Left Behind? Is No Child Left Behind still a thing? That's crazy.
That's federal, though.
Right. A. Jamal Benden says, when will these Karens and Beckys get the voices of Black parents? Racists need to stay out of the conversation. Interesting. Wanda Lewis says, if the private school vouchers get passed, private school classroom size will equal those of the public school classrooms. Both sectors that has a teacher shortage. What will change the education outcome? We definitely need change to this public school system. That's what we should focus on. So again, it's just about what we focus on. I feel like my focus now needs to widen out some. It doesn't. I don't want to just focus on one thing. Public schools need to be fixed and reformed, but also we need to build our own schools. But also we need to allow for other schools to exist for kids to have a choice. That's kind of where I'm at there. Tony Johnson says, whatever happened to groups like African Achievement Council, 5A, and education committees from NAACP and Urban League? Good question. Marlon Harrison says, I know a lot of schools doing emails and text daily, social media, and PTAs. Marianne Williams says, Black and brown schools are being created all over the nation in red states too, and voucher money is needed to get that done. Marianne Williams is an example of somebody who was on one side of the fence and kind of decided to go on the other side. I think also seeing this is a more broad thing as well too. So appreciate everybody's comments and on this, and we'll definitely continue to do that. You said you got education bills you're going to be trying to push and do, or that you had already, and that you're going to continue on next legislative session. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to work through some stuff. I mean, as I'm like my whole and I'm tired of. One thing I'm tired of is I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. I'm leading being black first. That's my only mission. I don't care about your affiliation or your party. I'm doing my best to try to improve the conditions of the black community in North Omaha that I represent. So,
mic drop.
So one issue I'm here, one issue I'm there. But at the core of it, I grew up here. I understand what it's like to live here. And our perspectives is different, and the people I talk to, perspectives are different. I be on the ground. I'm not talking about these nonprofit people and system people. I'm talking about real people. I interact with them daily.
Yep.
So when I vote on something or I do something, don't think I haven't talked to people. People in my community. It's not just a silo. I'm willing to listen to you tell me I'm wrong, because then I'll find an understanding in that to try to make a better decision.
Right.
Willing to meet with anybody and all those type of things. Like, it is what it is. And I just tell y'all, at the core of it, let's figure out how we're going to improve the educational outcome of black kids in Nebraska.
Period.
Do you have you identified some organizations in the community that you feel like are doing that or going towards that? Some people we might not be familiar with.
Doing what specifically?
As far as like finding solutions and working towards you know, building those schools and
I mean, I know people that are kind of working on building those schools, and I know people that are working with kids in the community to try to help them out. I just don't think we have a centralized, maybe not centralized, but maybe not a focused attack on the issue. It's like somebody doing something here, somebody doing something here, somebody doing something here. We're all not together in what we are trying to do. So it's people doing the work and trying to do the work, but I just don't feel like there's a focused approach to the issue.
Out organized again.
Yeah, man. You know, you were the only senator that I get the feeling you talk to the people in the constituents like maybe even more than you talk to other senators out there. So everybody else seems to be willing and dealing amongst themselves, but you seem to be the one that is actually out here, you know, dealing with the kids. You know, coaching wrestling. You know, you got family members that you talk to on a regular basis that are in some of these situations you fighting for. So again, appreciate your work. I saw that you dropped that you are officially now running again as well. So shout out, man, and you know that's coming up. This vote. Let's make sure that we get this cat in again. I'm not worried, but you know, hey, we still got to be diligent about it all. So appreciate you deciding to do that amidst all the hardships and everything that it takes to even take the time to do this. You still rolling in law school too? Is it you still doing that?
I haven't been taking classes right now, but I still need to finish. So I'm trying to get that done within the next year or so. So yeah, that too.
Yeah. Man, juggling. Too many jobs, man.
They don't pay enough.
that part. Yeah. Need to get that on the ballot as well, or at least on the floor.
Still trying to figure out how to build some kind of pack or some kind of thing that'll get you out there, man, and you know, do what you got to do. So we need you. Appreciate that very much. Anything else you want to leave us with before we let you get on your way?
No, I mean, thank you. I appreciate the conversation from everybody. If you got any questions or concerns, just, you know, reach out to me. We could talk, find coffee, and find some solutions. That's what I think it's all about at the end of the day. Just finding solutions to improve our community. And if you're willing to do that, I'm willing to do it with you.
There you go. Let's be solution oriented. Let's go.
Love it. All right, brother. Stay up, man. And if you need a ride or something while your car's down, let me know, man. You know,
I'm using my brother's car right now, so I'm all right. I appreciate it though.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Well, yeah. Be safe out there, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man.
Peace.
All right, brother McKinney doing the good work, man. Appreciate that, brother, so much. And also Senator Wayne, man. I thank you guys both very much. I know you ain't here no more, but I'm just so appreciative to be able to learn what I learn when they come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
really clarity every time. So that's what's happening. Let's take a quick break, and excuse me, and we'll come back and and continue the conversation here a little bit more, and jump into the chat a little bit, and a couple more stories and some haps.
Yeah,
So
man.
stay tuned for all that. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all.
Don't touch nothing.
Touch nothing. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Oh man, I forgot I was gonna play one of your commercials you built.
It's all right, man. It's all right, man.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, it's all good. Don't need it.
Man, appreciate you guys. Oh, thanks, Pops. Yep. Yeah, I lost it for a minute. I couldn't find it, but now I found you. So now here we are.
See what you did there.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We're still very, very, very high from this whole week, this whole power week down, man. Everything is really kind of like everything we talk about now has this air of or influence of the people that we've been talking to and listening to and meeting this past week. So shout out and thanks a lot for everybody who's doing that. Whitney Richardson called it Thundercat vibes. Thank you. I'm glad.
Yes.
I'm glad you noticed. I wrote it that way and I was like, I'm gonna do a Thundercat vibey song, and that's what came out of it. And thank you for recognizing that. Appreciate you very much.
Man, picking up what we putting down.
Picking up what we putting. She always does, though, man.
Yeah.
That's the homie. We need to keep on talking about your podcast. Got to get back on it. Got to get back. We need your political analyst side of things. So most definitely, if you don't know about her podcast, you definitely need to check out Whitney Richardson's podcast. Shout out to Webberize too, man. That's another
squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of good conversations on there as well. We're talking about some things. We're talking about getting together again and putting some things together here. First Sky fam in the house.
Yeah.
Really, really getting that going. So shout out to you. Appreciate you very much. She says, yes, I'm coming back now that the wedding is over. Yeah, I heard that. Heard that. Yeah, I got to take a little time off for that. Speaking of time off, say again.
I said that could be a lot, planning a wedding and things.
I mean, because you did all that yourself too.
Again, it's a lot.
I wouldn't know. I will say, speaking of going on a break here pretty soon, into season 6 is coming up.
Yeah, man. Next week. Next Friday.
Next Friday. So we usually we do 2 seasons a year for those of you that are wondering about these seasons. 2 seasons a year. And we're in the 2nd season of the year. This is our 6th season overall. And what we do is we go through the season and we take off around December 15th and come back, take off about a month and come back January 15th to start season 7. We do the same thing in the middle of the year as well. Take a month off in summertime, and that's how we roll. So we do that so we can kind of regroup, refocus, fix tech, grow audience, do all the things that we got to do in order to continue on the seasons and continue the show on. So we got some good things in store for season 7 coming up. New website, new news sources, new outlets that we're building out as well. A video channel, lots of things that we're trying to bring to the forefront. All in order for us to kind of big up what's going on in our neighborhoods, man. With us making the headlines ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We need black news, black media around here. And we also need the army of spiritual artistic soldiers, and we will be highlighting a lot of things, art and music, because we know that things that have to do with art and music are the real warriors on the battlefield. That's the real battlefield. It all comes from love, and that's what Dr. Cornell West talks about.
Yeah, man.
You got to have courage to have love. Love makes for artistic expression. Art is the only thing that's going to battle politics and everything else that's going on here, and that's what we really firmly believe when it's all said and done. And so that's what we are. A couple of artists that decided we needed to stop and talk about some things that were very, very important going on in our neighborhoods, affecting us, local politics, showing affecting our lives on a daily basis, and how we need to have a little bit more control of those things so we can get back to life, which is love and art. And that's what we're gonna really move into on season 7. Real practical things through seasons 1 through 6, and now this is kind of the spiritual philosophy in action that wraps all of 1 through 6 together. So we'll be talking more about that coming up as well, and giving you all some insights on that. But we appreciate everybody that's been along the journey, along the way this whole time, and even before that, even the Mind and Soul days, man. Still pulling a lot out, and I really appreciate that very much. So, yeah. In the meantime, between time, I can go on and on. It's already 8:51. If you believe in the concept of time, buddy, you want to do a little lightning round or something, or what you feeling?
Yeah, we can hop into a few things. Kind of alluded to some stories throughout today's episode, but give you a little more detail on what's going on here in the last 10 minutes or so. Again, big shout out to everybody tuned in. Let's prepare for our lightning round. And we sort of, again, got into it with our conversation with Senator McKinney coming out of Nebraska Examiner, talking about the school choice bill. And again, they're moving forward, even though this bill is going to be making its way to the ballot in November, a year from now. They're moving forward with this bill as if it's going forward. The Nebraska Department of Revenue on Tuesday publicized a list of the first organizations that will be certified to provide scholarships for K through 12 students to attend private schools beginning January 1st. So we can see those scholarships and can see that impact beginning starting January 1st, just weeks away. And the list of certified scholarship granting organizations includes Assistance for Individuals and Families Without Borders in La Vista, also Metro Area Christian Schools, SGO, as an organization in Omaha, and also Opportunity Scholarships of Nebraska, an organization in Lincoln. So definitely gonna have to do more research into those organizations and see who they're partnered with, and see what's going on again with these finances, school choice moving forward. Definitely keep our eye on that. Also, speaking of moving forward, looks like a BID situation is moving forward despite a lot of controversy coming out of Little Bohemia. This is being reported by KMTV News 3. There's a rift of sorts happening between business owners in the Little Bohemia area that has kind of been booming over the last year or so, with a lot of business making its way, a lot of developers actually building restaurants and bars and barbershops, banks, even apartments coming to that area. But it feels like, or it seems like, industrial sector owners and business owners in the industrial sector feel like they are being left out of this business improvement district. And there's a kind of a standoff again. Some of the business owners in the area that own some of the development companies, a few metalworking companies in the area, are saying that they are not being acknowledged or being considered in this business improvement district, and it feels like they will not be impacted as much as some of the major developers who are coming into the area. So still looking at what's going on with BIDs. Again, there's several BIDs in the North Omaha area, still learning the impact that they have, and still kind of reminding us of our call, again, to have boots on the roots, to have people join their neighborhood associations. That we're kind of looking at this as an extension of that. Again, looking at what resources are in your community, how can you pull those together to make your community, your blocks, your neighborhoods that much more better. So again, looking at the controversy with the Little Bohemia BID, and hopefully we can learn some things from that situation.
Always some things happening with a BID. We got a BID over there on 24th and Lake, and I remember there's some controversy there about what was happening with the Love's Jazz building, and so there's always some of that. It's like a neighborhood association, but it's a business improvement district situation, and they get appointed by the mayor, I believe, in order to be able to exist. And Little Bohemia, there's a whole lot of money went to Little Bohemia already. It's already been built up over the past like 10 years. If you guys remember we were over at Tiny House for our first Chat Chimers kickback. That's the Little Bohemia area there. And the fact they already got a new Barcade 2 and all kinds of other venues over there, and the Admiral now that's been revamped. That used to be the old Sokol Auditorium. That whole area there has a lot of money in it already, and now the BID was able to generate more and get things going over there for them. So what does that say about what we can do in our neighborhoods as well? So Kimber Snipes, she lives in Little Bohemia, so that's we know where that area is at there. So it's it's just interesting. It was the thing that struck me as interesting this morning to think about the power that the BID has. How do you improve your business district? How do you improve it? How do you bring businesses to it? What do you do? Was there money involved? How do you get on the BID in the first place? And what kind of power do you have? So we'll definitely more things to talk about that in the future. But it's just interesting to see. It's kind of a case study of what's going on in Little Bohemia right now as far as that for me.
Yeah. Before moving on to the next article, one big thing that came out of that article for me was just understanding how that works. Again, the BID pulls together all the businesses that are part of the BID. They have to pay a special assessment of about 90 cents per $1,000 of the assessment of the business. And according to this article, the Little Bohemia BID has a annual budget of about $24,000. So again, all the businesses pitching in to do events that maybe have a Little Bohemia day or have signage up. So those types of things. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Moving forward, one last thing that we definitely have to talk about and be aware of and look out for, again, is this conversation surrounding the possibility of arming staff in our public schools. So it's not just about school choice and education, but what about behavior within the public schools? A new bill could definitely make things a lot more controversial. LR 220, legislative resolution 220, which was pushed by Senator Brewer, and kind of reimagines and reexamines a bill that actually made a lot of headlines and a lot of controversy back in 2019, talking about LB 343, which would have let trained school staff carry concealed handguns. With the gun laws in Nebraska changing and Omaha kind of reeling to keep up with that, what does that mean for our schools? Is this something that we could see make a return? Definitely something that we need to be watching out for, especially as on the federal level, gun violence has been and is being discussed as a possible public health crisis explored by U.S. Senate Democrats. Again, what does that mean? And how does, what response does that create? Is there a kind of a community or really a culture of fear, especially with our young folk? Again, what does that mean to have staff? I don't know if that's teachers, I don't know if that's security guards, but staff in our schools armed with concealed handguns. Is that really, is that really the territory that we want to get into? Yeah. So, and then last but not least, it is the season to be washing up, wearing the mask, being careful. Local doctors are warning about the dangers of RSV, are recommending ways for people to protect themselves and their families. We've seen instances in recent years where young folk, especially some outbreaks at Children's Hospital of RSV, and this is something that is making a comeback. Local doctors are warning people that the dangers of RSV are respiratory sensational virus. The CD says it's the leading cause for infants hospitalized. 2 vaccines are available for people with underlying conditions over the age of 60 and or those expecting mothers between 32 and 36 weeks of pregnancy. So again, RSV can feel like a cold for many, but can be severe and sometimes even fatal for others. So definitely consult with your doctors if you feel like something is wrong, and stay vigilant.
There you go. It's your lightning round from First Sky Omaha in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. It's coming up on that 9 o'clock hour. Just have a few haps before we get out of here. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on around town that I would definitely want to check out. Our partners over there at KIOS have a pop-up cinema that's going to be happening. It's a free event, film screening of Gunda over at the Millwork Commons. So maybe if you got a chance, if you're a film buff, it's a documentary film. It's kind of from the perspective of a pig and his friends. And no, it's not like Babe. It's like a pretty innovative pretty innovative documentary film. Really, it's kind of a story that's told in in the form of these animals they're actually filming these animals as if they're characters in this documentary. So interesting screening. They're going to be doing a lot of these pop-up cinemas over here at KIOS at the movies. They're kind of in cahoots with film streams as well. So good partners to have over there. Free event. This is happening December 7th at 7 o'clock. You might want to check that out. Also, what's happening December 7th over at the Benson Theater, Holiday Lights is happening. It's a show that is a mixed. It's a collaboration between St. Bridget Theaters and Benson Theater. It's an original play that's written originally. It's got local actors and really interactive kind of multimedia event that's happening here, and it's going to run through the 17th. So definitely want to get your tickets and go check that out. Opening night is kind of the night that we're going to go and see what's happening over there. Pretty interesting show. They kind of talk about it's not so much about Christmas, but it's about all the different kinds of end of year religious holidays and things that people do, and it's got a funny spin on it, and it's got some real messages. So you might want to check it out. Holiday Lights, Winter's Wonderful Gifts, and it starts opening night December 7th, which I believe is Thursday night, and runs through the 17th. Definitely want to check that out. They also shot us over a calendar. You can kind of see Holiday Lights when they're going to be playing. Also, Omaha, One Omaha has another event coming on the 12th over at Benson Theater from the Ground Up Speaker Series. Shout out to Kimber Snipes on that. And then later on in the month, Red Velvet Curtain is happening again. The poetry event that we have over there at the Benson Theater. So definitely check that out on the 21st. If you want some more information about this, go to Benson Theater at bensontheater.org and get all your tickets and information there too. So appreciate it very much. Everybody in the chat, man, you guys are going off. I really appreciate everybody giving us this information here and talking about these things. We apologize for going past our agreed upon time, but definitely wanted to check that out. Another big event that's coming up here is the opening of the greenhouse. No More Empty Pots, I believe, is the organization that is. I had the information here on it and I lost it already. Sorry about that. I'll find the date and the time on that one and let you guys know in Friends of First Sky Omaha where that's at. I kind of lost the info here. Let me see if I can find it just real quick here.
Yeah, but that is No More Empty Pots behind that. And I did see that there's a market happening. Looks like they are opening up and building a market under that greenhouse as well. So yeah, definitely. Once we get this information, looking forward to that. And finally, they got that going. Now here it is. I have it.
We've been talking about it.
Yeah. So the greenhouse grand opening is going down this Friday in 2 days, y'all. December 8th. The event is an open house from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Booths, light food, and reception will be hosted at the venue next door. Come and go whenever works for you. See you then. A ticket is not required for entrance. So this is for the free 99. Make sure we're coming in and supporting this greenhouse and what's going on. Again, food security, still fighting this food war, still making sure that families have nutritious food that they can, they can enjoy and they can, make your body stronger. You eat better, you think better, you do better. So big shout out to the Highlander and No More Empty Pots.
I'm very happy that they got that going.
Yeah, man.
Very, very happy. Okay, cool. That's about all the haps that I want to mention today. Well, of course, we'll have a more extensive haps on Friday. And if you guys have any haps, definitely let us know and put those in Friends of First Sky Omaha. And we'll definitely shout those out and send those around to our constituents. Got to do that. So definitely check it out. We will be having some footage that we're going to put up about this Power Week that's happening here, man. Dr. Umar, our first presidential campaign interview on First Sky Omaha with Dr. Cornell West the other day. That'll be up soon as well. A picture of me and Dr. West right here, like couple of gray heads. Man, that just reeling off that visit, and I'm sure that we will be talking about it. And listen, those of you that went as well, share your stories about what happened. Love to hear that very much. So thank you very much. Oh, Kimber says it's not our speaker series, it's the holiday party. And we will also announce our mini grant awardees. Okay. So that's the holiday party that you're having, and mini grant awardees is going on the 12th of December at Benson Theater from the Ground Up Speaker Series. That's what's up. One Omaha, you're doing some great things. Kimber, you're doing some great things. We really appreciate you. and man, it's kind of shaping up. It's interesting how we're coming towards the end of the year, and there's certain organizations and individuals that have really been standing out, and there's a real group forming. There's a real you know what I'm saying?
Community.
There's a real community happening, and people are finding their place. That's the thing that's interesting to me. Every time we talk about anything, we talk about everybody's doing good work in these silos, but these silos are not connected to each other, and these connections are happening. I feel like this is making the whole scene grow bigger because the connections are being made. This organization is doing good stuff. A perfect example of that is when Mayor Sanchez said, "What about the BAA having a food pantry?" And Brother Kasim from the BAA said, "Brother Willie Hamilton over there is doing that already. How about we support him more on his?" And that's the kind of attitude that we need to have all over the place, man. Let everybody do their lane, but let's do it together and let's support each other and build this out more. That's ecosystem of 2024 is going down. That's what we're doing. We're gonna get out of here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Man, big shout out to the Senators for taking the time out of their schedule, even on an off day. You know, usually we have them on Mondays, but thank them for giving us time to speak to the Dr. Cornel West on Monday and taking the time out of their schedule to speak with us today. We appreciate them. We love them. We thank them. And also we appreciate and love you all out there, all the chat chimers, all the ghost listeners. Man, the support is real. And anytime we can run into you and live a live together for one time, it's appreciated, man. So again, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. Big shout out to Star Trek Rich, the whole Weatherized squad. We appreciate you. We love you as well. Again, if you have any podcast needs, check them out. Weatherized at weatherized.com. And without further ado, Paul B.
Yes,
take it away.
Right on. Marianne Williams is putting something in the chat here that we need to start keeping our eye on. She said the restraint bill, or hit the kids bill, would allow janitors and cafeteria staff to participate, so they may get guns too. Some stuff to keep on the radar for real. Also, something to keep on the radar. Miss Erica Felt says COVID, RSV, and undefinable and unidentifiable virus and fatigue, and often vomiting going around child cares. Thankfully, we haven't seen any other than the unidentified virus that passes quickly. So these are things that's interesting. I like checking in with the child care providers when it comes to what's going on, because kids be dirty. Kids they touch each other, and when you find out what the kids are sick with, that might be what it is that you're gonna get sick with here pretty soon. So check in with the child care providers and see what's going around. Appreciate you paying attention to that, Miss Erica Felton, letting us know. She said, "Great show. Last night was a spiritual event I needed, with every speaker touching my mind and heart. Thankful for all of you that were there in body and heart. Be good to yourselves, drink water, and consider your steps before walking."
Yes.
Appreciate you very much for that. Thank you for those words. Also, Pop says, "Thanks for another infusion of enlightenment and joy. See you all Friday." Thank you, Pops. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. Amy H. Dot says, "Have a great day, y'all." Marianne Williams says, "Thanks for another great conversation. First Guy, great week, and it's only Wednesday."
Yeah, man.
For real. Amy H. Dot says, "Kids be dirty." Yep, that's the quote of the. I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says "Kids be dirty." Appreciate you very, very much for everybody that joined us today. All your comments. Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to Brother Lavelle Wells from the Omaha tribe. They blessed us and let us bring Dr. Cornel West in the house on this land as well this week. Appreciate that very much. That prayer really touched a lot of people. It was great to have you on there, Brother Wells. And also shout out to the BAA. Shout out to the Untamed group, and shout out to brother Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney. Everybody who's been a part of coming on the show, being here. Shout out to Dr. Cornel West for being on the show. Shout out to Dr. Umar for coming into town. A lot of appreciation going around this week for us, in this Power Week happening. Appreciate you, buddy. I know that you got a lot going on right now in your life and in Atlanta, and the fact that you took some time out to come out here and be a part of what was going on this week. It's kind of inevitable, and no question. I know that you feel that strongly about what's going on here in the hometown. Yeah, man. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Whitney Richardson says, "Great show, brothers. Have a great week, y'all." I want to give a shout out to you, the Chad Chimers, for allowing us to speak.
Man,
thank you so much for you guys being a part of this, being our co-host, and we wouldn't be able to do this show without you. And it was so good to see so many chat chimers and ghost listeners in the room last night with Dr. Cornel West. It was kind of a trip. It was almost a kickback. It was almost kickback status.
Man, it was kickback status, man. Big shout out to Cathro. Yeah. Keep the vibes going.
Yeah, shout out to Cathro, man. The vibes going. That's what's up. RC, hashtag kids be dirty. That's it. I want to also personally thank Star Trek Rich and Margie for opening up their house and going through all the tech. We bring to you the most crazy tech setups that we have not even figured out. We're just like, well, help us out. And you guys always come
get it done.
Really appreciate you guys at Weberize, man. And it was good. It was good being back over there this week as well too. That felt like home again. So
yeah, man.
Shout out to you guys. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. We were way past this already. 10 minutes after 9:00. We're really stretching our time here. So apologize for going past the time, but thanks for hanging with us while we did. In the meantime, between time, take care of yourselves. We'll catch you on Friday for a new, fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
We're trying to get our harmony on with this now.
Yeah. Need a choir. Let the choir say amen.
Right on. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any